Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode here. And I'm quite frank, just thrilled to have like our wonderful guest that is available to us, Transformers. So, I like to open up with a little bit of a story to bring our guests in. You know, a few years back, I was grabbing by, our business tanking, faith hanging low, felt like God was on mute, man. And my bank account was screaming. And then Psalm 23 popped up. He leads me beside still waters. I'm like, Lord, where's the water? So I'm in the desert, but stuck. When it stuck with me though, it shifted my headspace. And when Dominick came up, it took me back to that story. And Dominick, first thing I want to ask you, you've been in the trenches too.
Yes.
Tell me your story.
My story from being in the trenches. All right,
Yeah.
I could do that. I mean, I worked on Wall Street as a clerk at one point. My first job was actually working at a Burger King up Lampish Avenue, Brooklyn.
What?
$3.35 an hour. No one warned me at the time that when you work an 8-hour shift after taxes and after you buy your lunch at Burger King, you're walking out with basically $7 in your name. And I'm born and raised Brooklyn, New York, so I've certainly seen a little bit of coming from the trenches world.
Yeah. I worked for $5.15 an hour, and I thought that was low. Yeah. Yeah, that was the early 2000s. I was only 13 at the time too. So,
But sometimes when you start your way like that, it gives you that sense of appreciation.
mhm.
And it's certainly even now. I remember in college, I would just like walk if I needed lunch and I didn't have the money to take the bus. I'd walk to get and it would be nothing. Like, okay, I'll walk 3 miles for lunch. What's the big deal?
Yep.
That was always my mindset. And sometimes I still have it where I feel like I'm not going to Uber there for $12. I could walk that. What the hell's going on? Why would I waste $1 if I don't have to? That's always that from the trenches mentality has definitely always been there for me.
Yes, the thing about it is your mind, stays that way, but then your legs don't cooperate with you because they take a break, every now and then, and they're screaming at you like, hey, your mind is just wrong right now. These legs feel different.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Oh
Yeah.
my God. But yeah, being in the trenches changes your mindset completely. It really does. That's the short answer.
Yeah, Dominic, I want you to take us to a moment though when the economic grind or the media hustle, had you burned out, and how did you pull back in?
When you get burnt out, I think I have been burnt out 5 times this year. I'd say every year thereafter. It's normal.
Mhm.
It's a normal thing to
Yeah.
feel burnt out. It's a normal thing to hit your limit.
Mhm.
Yeah, burnt out. I also don't never like the phrasing of it. Burnt out. You burn something, it's destroyed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's just natural. You grind at something. You're talking about the grind, and you grind at something, and you go, wow, that's a lot. The trick to me, though, is simple and not simple. And it's not easy. It's just the trick is you do what you got to do, which is you got to change your mindset, call a friend, go for a hike, play piano. You're doing something to reset what is
Yeah.
not reset. And that's really to me, the mindset you have to have is, what do I have to do now to get myself in a different place quickly? Because the place I'm in is not the best place.
It's real, man. I love how you said, the importance of like resetting, shifting the mind, and not looking at it like as though you flaming out, like got these
Yeah, I
flames
don't
all over
love.
you, and then you disintegrating, and where what a work.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
energy of burnt out implies to me like you take a fireplace and a log and you burn it.
Hmm.
There's no recovery from that. It's now ashes. It's now coal. And I always hated that as a metaphor because I think you're not burnt. It's not you're done. It's not that the log is exhausted and cannot
Yeah.
reignite in that argument. It's normal. And it's actually, I would say, almost like a healthy reminder. I would almost equate it to working out when your arms get so tired and you're like, I've just done 100 push-ups. What the hell did I just do? Then your muscle grows. When you're burnt out, I would almost describe it more as a muscle fatigue. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's normal. It's the normal growth transformation process. See, I pulled it into the name of the, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that. You know, when I'm sitting quiet, and having coffee, I kind of let this guy whisper through the chaos, and you seen chaos in the retail area. You seen the flip, and now we got a very
We
popular
are
word
living in
now.
chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a very popular word now that tariff, the best word in the dictionary, tariff.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
everyone is talking about tariffs, but it's more the economic and political scene is a little bit of chaos. It's a little bit of
yeah,
now. Some people will say it's transformation. Some people will say it is form of growth. I think markets and businesses generally don't love chaos. People, when you're building any business, you like to know what's happening next. And tariffs in particular are an interesting one because they're all over the news. And generally, if you look at history, people don't love tariffs. So we went to Boston, we threw a lot of tea in the water because of tariffs, essentially.
yeah.
Tariffs generally make people very angry. So I think that's a bit, that's been a mindset. That's a big part of it all, if you will.
So what's one crazy retail shift that like you navigated where, it was like your gut that kept you steady through it?
Say that one question again. I'm sorry,
Uh,
that was my fault, not yours.
no problem, no problem. So we tend to think that our gut or our faith keeps us steady through the navigating crazy retail shifts. Is there one particular crazy retail shift that you navigated through?
Think it's understanding that crazy retail, crazy business, crazy shifts is the nature of it all. It's
Yeah.
I will describe it like my great grandfather was a sailor and he would go out in the ocean. And
Mhm.
when he went out in the ocean, do you think he said, oh my goodness, there's a wave? How could that be? It's normal. And we attribute ups and downs. The ups are miracles and the downs are tragedies. Or maybe it's all just life. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's just a
Interesting.
function of
Yeah,
life.
that's interesting.
I try being interesting. I tried just being smart, funny, interesting, and just an overall handsome man, but I don't always succeed.
Well, you working your magic right now, yeah. You even put me in some deep thought about that. I love the sailor illustration about that because why can't we get other people to like look at it that way? We got people who don't know how to mix things up that way and feel like they got to be an expert to feel this and have a spark to keep things moving.
Because it's not easy, and I
Uh,
fail at it more often than I succeed. I fail at that reminder more often than I succeed. It's something that we always strive to do. But I also think the way we unfortunately counter that is that we go, hey, Marcus, what you're going through isn't so bad. There's
mhm.
children starving in Africa and China. So what you go, it's not so bad. Well, that doesn't make you feel better. You probably feel worse going, wait, I got my own problems and the kids starving? What
Yeah,
the gosh?
um,
I think one needs to constantly consider
mhm.
that that is not the way to make people feel better. You need to
Right.
always see how it's set up. That's normal. It's normal to have ups and downs. I think it's more just that acknowledgement of normalcy.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is normal to have that ups and downs. What you're going through sucks, but
Mhm.
that's normal. I think we want normal to be up. We want normal to always be up. We always want to be in a positive place. That makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
We always want, do good things happen. And it doesn't feel good if you say you could do good things and bad things can happen, or you could do good things and middle things can happen, or maybe just stuff happens, good nor bad nor indifference. Is that too deep for the first thing in the morning, so to speak?
No, this is perfect. we at the
What you were
afternoon
looking
hours.
for.
I already have my cup of coffee, so we're good. I'll be on my second, third one around the next 2 hours. But
I love it. I love it. Keep going along this line.
yeah,
I can handle this. This is my place. Ask away anything along these lines.
yeah. So you're in the right platform here, and a lot of times along those lines of what you were saying, it's this idea of losing our souls in order to ride the economic wave. Is there a way to avoid losing your soul? Because there's a lot of people who do a lot of crazy things, and supposedly this new administration has revealed some things that have created more panic.
Okay. So first of all, Warren Buffett describes the market as a person. The market is this person that is always panicked. The market in and of itself is a panicked individual, and your job is to not be panicked. Most of his investments, for example, are always very steadfast. His investments are Coke for, I don't even know how many decades he's owned Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's been moments in his life where someone said, oh my God, they found a rat in the can, Coca-Cola in 1987, sell your Coke or buy your Coke, and whatever it may be. And you can't react to that. And I think the same thing for just business in general. You're describing this normalcy of the ups and downs. And the job is to say, what's the reality and what's that reaction accordingly?
Yeah.
And that's to me the real trick. The real trick is saying, what is this an overreaction? But that's, I also think that's just with depression and with life and with mental health. Like it's very hard to get out of oneself when you're in it. And I would say it's the same as when the grandfather was on the ocean, like, and there's a middle of a storm. You can't really run up to him and scream, don't worry about it. I'm sure as hell he was like, okay, dude, I'm a little worried. We're in the middle of a storm. Normal. No, absolutely 100% normal. So it's just knowing that and seeing that and saying, how does one handle what's actually normal? Do you know what I'm saying? Or am I getting way too deep again?
No, you're on point, man.
Point. I
Keep it
like that.
flowing.
I like being on point.
Keep it flowing. So, and you guys who are tuning in right now, I want you guys to just open the floodgates for us, and we're going to pour in some more water to pretty much just flood the entire world. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're talking with my good friend here, Dominick, and make sure you check out retailwire.com.
I love it.
Are you tired of starting your day feeling unmotivated and foggy? I want to introduce you to a coffee that not only tastes amazing, but also helps you start your day with purpose and clarity. This is a premium coffee blend that I personally created. It has a rich, smooth taste that will energize your mind and sharpen your focus so you can take on the day with confidence. But that's not all. This coffee is also ethically sourced, which means that we work directly with the farmers to ensure that they are paid fairly and that their communities are thriving. And here's the best part. A portion of the proceeds from every bag of coffee goes towards mental health initiatives and community development projects in Uganda and Rwanda. So when you drink this coffee, you're not just enjoying a delicious beverage, you're also making a difference in the world. And right now you can get a 12 ounces bag for just $26. That is less than $2 per cup. It's time to start your day the right way.
Okay, we back, ladies and gents. My fellow Transformers. We got a very interesting individual here, a great human soul that I want you guys to just, follow up behind after this conversation. Let's not end the conversation right here. So we're bringing more heat to you guys. We talked about a lot so far, and I want to segue this way.
Okay.
Start your day with faith, not fear. I hit the coffee. I hit a Bible verse, and that keeps me chill when the news is not chill. We can't depend on it. So what I'm talking about? I'm talking about trust, man. Largely trust over panic. What is the best go-to? Well, one size doesn't fit all, but for you, Dominick, what's your go-to when the economy's wilding out?
What I try doing every day, I try doing cardio. I try working out. I try making sure I call a friend. I try playing piano, and I try meditating every day. You have to, I think, make it a process. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You have to say to yourself, how can I How can I grow this? How can I do this? How can I get myself out of it? I think that's, you're saying prayer. It could be meditation. It could be calling someone, not commenting on better nor worse. But the point is, it's the goal to also flip it out for a second. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense, though?
It makes a lot of sense. People tend to limit the options there, and guys like yourself, very accomplished individuals, you have learned to see the full options on the plate, and okay, this, I can use this, I can go about this, and I can make it part of my daily routine, and leave some flexibility in there if I need to. I have learned to do the same thing, but I'm still looking for more options.
Well, I think we're
'Cause,
always looking for more options.
yeah,
We're always finding it. It's going to change where you're at. It's going to change where your life is at that moment. Maybe you get a job where you're starting every day at 5 a.m. and you're like, I don't have time for this or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
maybe you have a physical challenge in life and you're like, I have to approach that whole situation differently. Maybe the working out once a day is not enough. Maybe you have to add stretches to your workout. The human experience is not rigid. It is definitely a fluid experience, and we're always trying to figure out what leads to what.
yeah. I think it should lead to like healthy optimism, but sometimes the people who are pessimistic, they say, "Oh, that's fake optimism." So when these terrors and these trends start like messing with your head, how do we absolutely stay grounded throughout the whole trends and terrors like just happening?
I think it's not, I don't love, you know what, in a way, optimism in a certain mindset can be fake, can be BS. What I mean by that is, I don't want to say it's, it's a tough one. I don't want to say not to be optimistic. I don't want you to be a pessimist. I'm just saying I try to do my best to take a step out of it. What's the reality of it? The reason I quickly responded when we said about optimism or not is because it's not what happens. I mean, we love Trump, we hate Trump. We love tariffs. Well, it should be neither. There should not be a love-hate situation. People are losing jobs and being laid off. That's not celebrate and mourn. It's like, let's figure out what it is. And we've unfortunately made teams out of economies and made teams out of certain feelings that maybe shouldn't be teams.
Man,
Am I
that's a
getting
new
too
one.
deep again? You could warn me.
Teams out of economy. That's gold. We got to borrow that one.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what we've
teams out of
done, as
economy.
opposed to what makes
Wow.
sense for what we're doing at this point in our
Yeah.
lives. But we're not making decisions at times based on facts, and that's why I think you're seeing a lot of people regret my vote this way, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. I think, are you not liking based on an emotion or a fact? Sometimes those get conflated.
It's about adapting smartly. People don't adapt smartly. Like you said, they are so emotional. I remember I had to pivot fast, like when all my cash dried up, and then I learned it the hard way. I learned it the hard way. I'm still like kicking my butt for that. Dominick,
Oh, I get that.
you watch, yeah, you see that? You watch the retail scene evolve, and what's one move that we can steal to stay ahead?
It's just you always need to learn. You always need to study. I'm constantly studying. I try doing multiple calls a week, which are to learn. I've been learning more about podcasts recently, for example. I've been learning, and I call people experts in that area and say, teach me about how to do this or that. I think you're always constantly studying. And that's the way you keep ahead, is you have to constantly say, that's great. What else can I do to improve myself and learn? If you don't, you start getting stagnant quickly. You don't want to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned tech. in the midst of like what you were talking about, that's a good part of the playbook that we want to like reach into. We saw with the Philadelphia Eagles, everybody thought they was just run, 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 but we seen Jalen Hurts pull out something different. But that's another
I
story for
love
another
that
day.
example. Yeah.
So, so I use podcasts to reach folks like you. Text is my lifeline. You now retail wire.
You now retail
How's
wire,
tech?
Inquisitor, the Celebrity Cafe. Yeah. I've been involved with a
Mm-hmm.
few places.
A lot of places. So how has tech kept you in the game?
Tech is always evolving. Tech
Mm-hmm.
is always changing. I am sometimes blown away. iPhone just still blows me away at times where I did a TV interview and I used my iPhone and a headset on the road. And I was like, and if you think about that, that's something that just did not happen 5, 10 years ago. And I think that's what I love about it is that it is constantly keeping you on your toes. And I also love when I run to guys like, I'm a tech guru. I know everything about tech. And I'm like, no, that's the whole point of it. It's a constant
Yeah.
invention.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly studying and I'm constantly learning. But at times, I think I'm also laughing at myself, appreciative of the insanity. ChatGPT did not exist X number of years ago. Now it does. And now it's on your phone and you could have the computing power of something that was only in movies as of years ago. We thought it was crazy when Iron Man would talk to Jarvis and say, Jarvis, get me this, get me that. And I just think it's the cognition of that. Like, wow, that is not normal. That is definitely a new thing. And then I love it is we always readjust. We adjust and go, my goodness, can we plagiarize all our homework with ChatGPT? And then we go the other direction. Or can we use ChatGPT instead of doctors? And I think that's a natural response where you're constantly trying to say, how can I use this technology effectively? And so I think it's actually just a natural process. But we go one end and we're plagiarizing our homework, and then we're using plagiarizing the homework detectors to balance that. Eventually you settle. Then, which is even funnier to me with tech in general, then you get bored. Like the fact that you have an iPhone that can basically have the world's knowledge in your fingertips. And we go, yeah, whatever. Like if you, 10 years ago, if people were, 20, 30 years ago, people were buying encyclopedias door to door. We were desperate for world knowledge in our own home. And I knew people who would read the encyclopedia just to learn. And now they're on TikTok swiping cats. So we have a normalcy that occurs with tech once it gets rebalanced. It gets like, I think there's a natural progression where it's one side where you're like, let's use this for everything and copy our homework. And then we go to the other side, which is let's fight that side. And then eventually go, yeah, this was normal. And I'm like, no, it's not normal. It's like, is definitely interesting and not a bad thing by any means, but it's like where it lands. People go, oh, that was normal. That was absolutely normal. But that's the nature of tech, constantly evolving, constant.
And that's a big part of like the whole conversation around adapting smartly. And then the whole choices. And then now we're kind of bombarded with choices and options with tech included. And you mentioned boredom. Is it boredom? I would say it is. I would say to a certain extent it is with boredom because it's like that car you get that you've been wanting, and you finally get the car, you drive it for a couple of miles, and then it's like, okay, it's just a car at this point. But not realizing that, like, hey, this is a reliable transportation. This is stylish. It's a chick magnet. Yeah. So
It's absolutely what you're saying. And I think we have this process.
Mhm.
And then we say, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Like this is a normal
Yeah.
process. It's a normal up and down. It's a normal response, if you will. And yet we act shocked all the time. Oh my God, kids are plagiarizing homework or whatever it may be.
I miss encyclopedias and dictionaries. I miss those.
I mean, have you ever gone to the library and done the Dewey Decimal System with such? And that was a crazy thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and that was
Oh,
like,
oh, I will still not see the book I'm looking for though.
no, no, you're getting crazy. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's what the librarian was for. To just go and you cheat that way. Like, hey, I can't find this book for this book.
Absolutely.
But now we got Amazon.
We got it all. And I love the fact of how much we have at our fingertips
Mhm.
that, like during COVID, how everyone was doing the video calls to the point like oh my God, do you want a family Zoom? Like that was not a thing. Or I loved how many apps were coming. You could drive into the supermarket and fill right up the trunk.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So I think
it
it's
is.
the perspective to me I always try to do is just constantly study, constantly learn, constantly put myself in a place to say, how can I use this better? And eventually you get it. Eventually
Yeah,
eventually you figure out, but you're about 90. It
yeah,
takes me that long, I
it's
think, to figure out it.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I had the pleasure of talking to some 90-year-olds and some centennials. They're very they don't like walk around like they know it all.
No, I think because if I would joke that, finally figure it out and you're too tired to do it at that point. And
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
But you're constantly learning. I mean, I've learned
yeah.
so much in the past year, and
Mhm.
it's like, how many companies have I worked at? But it's something of which you're constantly studying and constantly learning. If you're doing it right.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, you're always constantly studying and learning.
There's a lot. There's a thing about tech that a lot of like my audience they wonder about. Like I get asked like how can you use it to grow your hustle or your faith online.
To grow your hustle or grow your faith online.
Yeah.
Those are two totally different questions.
Hmm.
Grow your hustle, I'll handle first. Grow your hustle. There are so many tools, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I do always say you have to constantly think of the tools as an extension of yourself. You do not want to double down. I saw one guy, he tried running his whole business with ChatGPT. And I was like, take it down a notch. Like I saw online, you can make $1 billion a year. There's a nature of it. That's since the dawn of time. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Simmer down a little bit on that. But fortunately, it's like just engaging. If you go to my LinkedIn, for example, you'll see I'm involved Global Retail Media Marketing Association. It's all mentorship. There are people out there willing to mentor you, just to communicate, just to have a conversation like this. It exists. There are people who are doing that. And I would say to grow your hustle, you have A, the tools out there. B, do not go crazy on the bet, meaning like don't just like do one thing once all the way, put all the eggs in that one basket, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
And then in addition, though, there's resources, there's people, there's so many people willing to do things. You just have to take it, offer it, ask it. I invite any of your listeners, follow me on LinkedIn, and it's a great way to respond and get to know things. And to me, I'm sending hundreds of messages all the time. It's just, you always connect. You always connect. But, in a way, that connects to the other angle. You're saying grow your faith. There's communities out there. The internet's amazing. It's just finding it. Whatever that community is. I had a friend who was very specific where she wanted to study this certain language. And this, I don't want to name her out, but it was just like she found that community online, and God bless, go
Yeah.
do it. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. That is the blessing of connecting in community. Your community is out there. Whatever it may be, I guarantee you that community is out there. There's just 8 billion people on this planet. There's another person in the universe who's interested in whatever you're interested in.
That's true. That's very true. And there was something you said that like really caught my attention. in the midst of that. And I never get stung because like, I'm usually like, cause but you pack so much and like, it's all interesting and it's all like,
Thank you so much.
it's all parallel to what I want to know, but I would say this, out of it, what we can just went through was trust, adapt, take it up. And just to like, with the whole putting your eggs in the basket thing, especially when it goes to like, leaning is so extreme on computers and all the other flashy things that, they promise they will do this and do this. And sometimes these people haven't even done it themselves. And what I'm like rediscovering is that like conversation, authentic messages, like, just write someone and say, hey, how's it going? I got this going on and maybe we can hook up and talk. That's going a lot further now than using ChatGPT or, whatever else AI tool to like create your messages.
The
People are seeing,
authenticity of people
yeah,
goes
people are
further. But
yes
when I
now.
say in the eggs in
Yeah.
the basket, that's with everything. I mean, how many
Mhm.
people do you read about who get into meditation and you find that, okay, dude, you just meditated for 6 hours today. You might be tired because you haven't eaten food. Like you need a balance. Or I
Mhm.
knew someone who was super into vitamins and never, which is great, but never worked out a day in her life. And I thought you need that balance maybe. But it's with eggs in the basket. It's with tech. It's the same thing. People are living and dying off of ChatGPT or whatever they're doing. The secret on all this is, and I've seen this with businesses I've coached and turned around, they get good at something. They keep on doing that something, which is good. And then that something breaks. And then they panic and say, what the hell do I do now? Well, maybe you shouldn't have only done that something and maybe do another thing with it. It's very common, I find, in business that people will double down like that and constantly push on that one thing that's working, and then the rest of the world crashes and they scream, what the hell just happened? Does that make better sense?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That faith and that grit, just a little bit of grit to carry you through the storm.
Grit through
It's
the
great,
storm.
man. Right through
Absolutely.
the storm. Yeah.
But, even it's, to me, it's also just all things in balance. You're saying faith, and how many times you hear the story. There's the person, you must have heard the joke, the guy's rest on the roof, there's a big flood, and guy comes by in a boat, and he goes, oh, no, God said he'll save me. Someone comes by in a motorboat, God said he'll save me. Someone comes in a helicopter, God said he'll save me. And he drowns, and God says, I sent you a boat, a helicopter, and, That's where the balance kicks in, though, is saying, is this helping you? Is this where you want to be? Is this, and I just think we are so desperate to have that happily ever after solution. And then maybe you're a man of faith. Maybe you have this moment of faith and it goes, oh, that's it. That's what it is. And then you have that's what it is. But I don't think there are moments I don't think it's any one thing. And that's kind of the big takeaway. It's all those things, and it's working together. You can put all your eggs, and you're into transformation. And if you put all your eggs in the basket of just faith, but you don't put any grit in, you're the man standing on the roof screaming, someone save me. It's not going to work. And I think that is certainly that process in general. Does that make sense?
I love it. Dominick, you are a legend, man. And I thank you today for dropping so much wisdom. Really just, I feel like I got a free mentor session today.
Not a worry, man. I love it. Keep me informed when it comes out. I'll share away, and we'll hopefully talk again soon.
Is there anything you want to hit us with? Like,
We
share any
covered so
links or
much
anything
deep
like
stuff.
that?
I'm scared to hit anything else. We'll break the audience. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they can use a little bit more. Yeah.
But yeah, keep me informed. I think this was incredible, and I'll come on anytime, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I love to have you back.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, friend.
okay. So, my friends out there, to meet another friend, you just got a chance to know them and just let you know that you're not alone in this economic craziness. Not only do God got you, but he sends good shepherds along the way, not gurus, but, people who, truly are passionate about what to do. just like Dominick here, take these steps that we gave you today. We wasn't explicit with them, but, trust over panic, adapt to smart. Adapt the
you're
smart way, not
summarizing
the
well.
emotional. Yeah.
You listening. I like that, Marcus. You were listening.
Yeah. And take it up, but, within reason.
Within
Start
reason.
today. Yeah,
That's
start
it, man.
today. So let's reignite that fire together, everybody. And share, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll be back with you again with another episode. Many blessings, peace, and lots of love.
I love it. Talk to you. This is great.
I stand for what you stand for. I'm at your door like the landlord. I can see the future, yeah, I fast forward. I get on the mic and I transform. Follow me, I'm in rare form. Follow me on this world tour. The asteroid that you can't avoid.